Working. I can find the date display. There's the date. 1/27/95. It's not 10:30 p.m. though. It's about 8:30 p.m. That's 2 hours fast.
8:30 p.m.
This is the kitchen of my home, and we're gonna talk about my dad's life here. Okay. I'm gonna set this down here because we don't have a tripod. Okay, I hope it picks up. I think it should pick up most of the sound.
I think there's something else we said.
Yeah.
Want me to explain things again?
Well, no, let's go through this book first. Because we got halfway through this book.
Not halfway when
No?
you big.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know if we can, go through real fast.
Well, I'll try to remember some of the things that.
Yeah, these
This picture was. How old were you in this picture?
20.
You're only 20 in that picture? You look older in the
No.
picture.
Well, because I was just out of the hospital, and I had lost weight because I hadn't eaten the way I should have.
Yeah.
I ate mostly liquids for about 3
Yeah.
months.
So now, who are all these guys? Just to give a general explanation.
These are the people that were in the sanitarium just outside of Eberbach, Germany, where we were stationed. And these are postcards of London and in England. And some of these are postcards of France, Paris.
Wow.
There's the Eiffel Tower.
So these postcards you bought while you were there, right?
Yeah. And this is the Arc de Triomphe
Yeah.
in
That
Paris.
thing is huge.
There's a castle of some sort of a church in Paris.
So this was in 1940, what?
1945.
1945.
After the
So
war.
what it makes you how old when you were there?
I was 20,
So you went in the Army at 20?
19,
19? And then you went to basic training for how long?
17 weeks.
And then you just went to Europe?
Yeah, I went overseas and joined my outfit in Germany.
Was there a time limit how long you had to go to basic training before they could put you into combat?
Yeah, you had to take at least 17 weeks of basic training.
And then once
Then
you were done with that, you were declared
ready for
combat eligible, whatever?
Right. And this is Napoleon's tomb.
Did you go in there and see any of these things? Did you see Napoleon's tomb?
No.
You just
I
got the
just got
postcards?
the postcards. Some of the places I've seen, and some of these are,
Tell me the places that you saw yourself of these
Yeah.
postcards.
now these are postcards of Namur, Belgium. Now, these postcards apparently were made before the war, because when we went through there, everything was demolished
Yeah.
practically.
That's a shame.
This is a picture of our company.
And what was the name? What was the company E?
Company E, 334th Regiment,
Okay, now let's start at the top again.
84th Division,
84. The division was the biggest.
334th Regiment, Company E, 2nd Platoon.
And it stops there.
Right.
So you were in the second platoon.
Yeah.
And how many men were in the second platoon?
There's usually 15 men in a platoon, but we never worked at full strength during the war, because
You had casualties.
we had casualties and we couldn't replace all of them all the time.
Okay, so above platoon B, what was next? Above that?
A company.
Company. How
There
many?
was 4 platoons in each company.
So there, a company was about 60 men,
Right.
about.
Yeah, roughly.
And above the company was the regiment. And how many companies in each regiment? Do you know that?
Oh, well, you had several headquarters companies, anti-tank companies,
So it could vary the sizes.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it could vary.
And this was taken after the war, though, you said, right?
Yeah.
This picture?
Right,
So, this is a picture of your regiment or your company?
company.
So how many guys do you think are missing from this picture?
Well,
Do you have any idea to know?
I would say about 40 are probably missing, but they were replaced by some.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see.
But 40, about 40 dead that I know of that were
Yeah.
replaced.
What are these pictures here of the guys like marching or?
Yeah, well, some of this was taken after the war too, because we would have drills and reveille, so we had to line up for reveille, and just like they did in the States, you know,
Yeah.
we went through the same routine.
When was this picture taken and where?
That was taken in Germany after the war, I think in Eberbach. And I sent some of these home to my mom. Then when I got home, I just kept some, and she kept some too.
So this picture of you in the Jeep, that was taken after the war?
After the war, right.
Did you drive the Jeep around a lot?
No.
You just
Once
sat
in a
there and
while,
take
I
a
would.
picture?
Yeah. I would drive it sometimes in town to, like, to go pick somebody up and bring it back, but
Yeah.
most of the time it wasn't our job to do that, we just borrowed.
Now, you said you were in a tank once, right?
Yeah.
Was that after the war?
No, it was during the war. We went inside of a German tank to see what it was.
Oh.
like
Oh.
after it was knocked out.
So, but you guys didn't drive it or anything?
No, I didn't,
So you were never in an American tank?
no. But I imagine most of the tanks looked the same inside,
Yeah.
you know, but the German Mark V tank was one of the biggest that they had. And it was nothing but the dials and
Yeah, levers.
levers and stuff.
Could you see out of it very well?
Yeah, they had a slot. Like they
Was
do
it
with
covered
doors.
with glass or was it just open?
It was just open. Now, this was my platoon sergeant. George Matthews was his name. And he got killed a couple of years ago in a car accident by a drunk
You said that
driver.
you liked him.
Yeah, he was one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
And this picture of you in the canoe was after the war also?
Yeah. Now, this one was during the war.
Oh, really?
These two. We were on a road.
And you were just waiting or something?
Yeah. A lot of times.
Are
we
any of
just-
these guys, were you friends with?
Yeah, this one here is one we call Pop Creed. He's one that had 4 children.
Yeah.
He was from Missouri. I didn't take too many pictures during the war because
Yeah.
you never had time.
Yeah.
But
And
only
you weren't there to take pictures either.
Right. And these are the Polish DPs. that I
And
got
DP
appointed.
stands for?
Displaced persons. See, actually, they were in German camps, prison camps, and some of these were in a sanitarium, in a TB sanitarium, and they were like guinea pigs because these doctors would try different medicines on them and stuff. Now, this again is Bill Lumpkin I was telling you about from Georgia.
Who's in Georgia?
I plan on visiting him one of these days. But you can see how sunken in the eyes are, all these people from malnutrition.
Did you ever get to go through any kind of a concentration camp
Went
after?
past one in Frankfurt, not too far from Frankfurt, when I got to my outfit after being in a hospital.
Yeah.
I had once they got me across the channel, I had to find my own way, hitchhike my own way back to my outfit. And when I did, I got permission to go to Frankfurt, Germany, because that's the only place that the U.S. Army had a general hospital with high classified doctors, and they had to perform like plastic surgery on my lip here, because every time I ate, I bit it, so I had to get that fixed. So on the way there, I passed a camp that they used for burning a lot of these Jews in those big ovens, and you could smell the burnt skin. If it was in the air, it was all over. And,
But
never went inside to see
Yeah,
it.
but when you walked past it, you guys had already moved through that area, so
Yeah.
that was all, as empty? Was
Yeah.
that camp empty?
Yeah,
How did you know, when you had to hitchhike back to your company or whatever, how did you know where it was located?
well, I had to, ask along the way where such and such an outfit was,
Yeah.
and, they would tell me, and then when I would hitchhike a ride, I would tell them what city I wanted to go to, and then they dropped me off. Took me about 4 days, I got there. Now, this was one of Uncle Hank's friends that he went to school with. He was a Marine. He got killed on Okinawa.
Mm.
A real nice guy. I had a chance to meet him. And of course, these are some of the pictures I took after the war with some of the close friends in my platoon.
Did most of the guys smoke cigarettes when you
Most
were
of
there?
them did. Most of them did, yeah. My sergeant, George, well, he smoked a little bit, but not too much.
What kind of cigarettes were they?
American.
I know, but what brand, do you
But
remember?
mostly Lucky Strike and Camels.
Really?
And then we had a lot of rallies too. They didn't sell too well, so they
Mhm.
give it to the Army free to give to the soldiers, you know. So we had a lot of those. And these are pictures after the war where we stayed.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get to that castle yet. We stayed.
Yeah.
So what kind of gun did you have? Was that your gun that you're
No,
holding?
I think that was a German Luger that somebody had. It had a, quite a long barrel on it.
But when,
I got a German Walther pistol at home that I took off of a German that we captured. And it had, the one side of it had a plastic handle screwed into it because apparently it was either shot off or broken off at one time, and this German fixed it up so
Mhm.
it would work right.
Well, but during your combat days, what kind of gun did you have?
I had an M1 rifle. They call it an O2 because they had a telescopic sight on it because I was a scout. And I had to have a telescopic sight on it so I could see a little farther.
All right, when you were walking, when you were a scout, when you're walking ahead of your company or your platoon or whatever, did you have binoculars too? What equipment did you have with you in your backpack?
Well, in my pack, all I had was my underwear and extra socks.
Just clothes, basically?
That's all.
No food?
No food. Well,
No.
we had K rations that we carried with
Yeah.
us, in case we couldn't get any hot food to us, so we always had K rations.
What about your ammunition?
Carried that on the belt.
There were bullets, basically?
Yeah, bullets. And then we had a band that would connect to the belt across your shoulder, and you could hook grenades onto it. Everybody carried a couple of grenades.
So on your rifle, did you have a bayonet?
Yeah.
Okay, now if you were gonna shoot your gun, how many bullets would it shoot?
There was 8 bullets in a clip. And
So-
you could shoot one at a time, but simultaneously. You didn't have to cock the rifle at all.
Okay, you could just pull it once, pull it
Yeah.
twice, then when you ran out, how long did it take you to put the other bullets in?
You take a clip off your belt and push it in. It was a spring thing.
Okay, right.
You push it in, it would clip in and stay
Yeah.
in there.
How often would you have to, use your scope to fire at people? Did you do that, and did you kill
I
anybody?
did that once, and I think I killed a German sniper, but I'm not sure.
But you hit him?
I thought I did. When I first joined the outfit, they put me in a small barn that was filled with ammunition and stuff to guard it for a couple hours.
And where were you? Was this in Belgium?
No, this was in Germany, in Gelsenkirchen, in Germany. That's where I first
So you-
joined my.
Oh, okay. So your company had marched and made some progress
Oh, yeah, yeah.
before you joined it?
Before I joined it, yeah.
Right.
They took half of Gelsenkirchen just about when I joined the outfit. And I was told to guard this one barn that had all these ammunition in it. They were boxes about like this, and most of it were bullets for machine guns.
Hmm.
And like every barn, it had cracks in the slats of wood, you know.
So you were the only one? You're by yourself?
I was by myself in there, and there was a colonel that was walking by, and as he was walking by, somebody shot at him, and the bullet hit the building across the street. And he kind of ducked, and he ran to me, and he says, you know, somebody was shooting at me, and we were both looking out of the barn, out of those slots.
Yeah.
And we seen this church steeple there, and we
Right.
could see somebody moving around.
So how, you could see it with your naked eye or with your scope?
Well, with my scope, I could see it, because I looked at that church steeple, and then I put my rifle through the slot. And I looked through that scope, and I told him that there's somebody up there, and that's probably where they were shooting from. So he says, well, why don't you take a shot at that guy? We don't know whether it's American or German, but if he was shooting at us, he sure isn't friendly.
Yeah.
So he told me to take a shot at him, and I did. And then there wasn't any movement after that, so I figured I might have hit him.
And how far was the steeple away?
Oh, maybe a couple of 100 yards.
And when you were looking at them through your scope, how well could you see?
I could see it real well. Real well.
So could you tell if he had a helmet on?
He didn't have no helmet. No helmet at all.
So you aimed for his head?
Aimed for his head. And later I found out that they found a guy up there and he had a bullet right between his eyes.
Really?
And that's the only one that I know of that I killed, if I did. Maybe
Right.
somebody else might have taken a shot at it
Yeah.
before I did, or at the same time, you know, I don't know.
But you didn't, but after you fired that shot, you guys didn't go back and inspect it?
Well, this,
Your company
officer-
did on the way back, or what happened?
This colonel sent somebody up there to look to see if there was anybody up there, to make sure.
Yeah.
And then later on, because I was standing guard there for about 2-3 hours, and then later on he came down and he said, yeah, he said, there was somebody up there, and he was dead when they found him. So he said, apparently you must have got him.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure if it was me or it might have been somebody else. you
Yeah.
know. But as far as he was concerned, I was the one that,
Really?
so it made me feel good. you know.
Sure.
But that's the only one that I know of that I actually killed. Now, when we were in combat and attacking pillboxes this one time, it's kind of hard to hit anybody because they only had slots like this, enough for the machine gun to go through. And shoot
Like
at
their
us.
pillbox is something dug out, kind of in the ground?
Yeah, it was in the ground and above ground, and their walls were like 4 feet thick.
Were they sandbags or what were they? Cement?
Cement, yeah.
Wow.
Pillboxes. They were made out of cement and steel. And the only way we could get the Germans out of there, if you got close enough and threw a grenade through one of these slots.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And a couple of the guys that got close enough, they would do that, throw the grenades in there, and then they'd run around the back, and some of them that were still alive would be running
Out the door?
out the door in the back, and they had trenches built between pillboxes. There was about 3 pillboxes on this one hill, and they had trenches built between them so they could go from one to another without being seen.
Yeah.
And that's how we got rid of those pillboxes that day.
Well, when you, like, let's say you're gonna throw a grenade in this hole, how many seconds until that grenade blew up?
Oh, I don't think it'd be more than 6 to 10 seconds.
Well, couldn't they pick the grenade up and throw it back out?
Yeah, but where are they gonna throw it?
They can't throw it back out the hole that it came in?
Well, they'd have to be pretty accurate and throw it through a 2-inch slot. And by the time they...
Did you guys cover the hole up? Well, why couldn't they just go up with their hand and throw it right?
That's what they did.
Yeah.
See, because if you get close to the pillbox, they can't see you. In fact, if you're like within 30 feet of it, they can't see you.
Because there's only one hole on each
Well, they
side?
got several of them probably all around it, but if you're close enough, they can't see you because they might be able to see you, but they can't turn the gun barrel down far enough to hit you.
Yeah,
They only go down so far.
yeah.
So when some of these GIs, when they got close enough, they just slipped them in there, and when they heard the explosion, they'd jump over the top and go to the back, and get them as they were coming out.
So you had to do that once?
Yeah.
You threw a grenade in there?
No, I didn't. Somebody else did. But while we were attacking these pillboxes, of course, they were machine gunning us, and a lot of the guys got hit. And I was lucky. I seen guys falling all around me, and I was wondering if I was going to be next. And that was the scariest thing of my life, because you never knew when you were going to get hit. But I was lucky, and I didn't get hit that time. Now, this is the castle where we stayed after the war, where we would saw up those logs and put them on trucks and take them to the railroad cars. But that castle there, I would say it had about like at least 40 rooms, and it had like 2 bathrooms on each floor, and then it had about two or three cellars that you would go down into. They had like a wine cellar and a cellar for food, and one.
So when you were living in this place, were you responsible for your own food, or how would you eat?
No, we had a company cook.
Oh, really?
Would cook for the whole company.
Wow.
Yeah. These are all the fellows that were in that engineering outfit after.
And this was after the war, you guys were just
After
shooting
the
out in
war.
the field?
And this was the German Shepherd that I got.
Where did you get them?
I got them from a German family. They happened to have quite a few of them. They were given away. So I took one. But see, food was so scarce. We had German families would send kids over to our chow lines, and they would take the scrap out of the barrels and put it in a can and take it home. That's how scarce food was. And I heard that they were even killing animals and cooking them and eating them because they didn't have anything else. This is the Stardust Club in Heidelberg that they had for the GIs. And no German girl could go in there without an escort. But there used to be a lot of girls waiting around outside, hoping
to get in.
to get in.
Did you go in there?
Yeah, we went in there once.
And they had like a band playing?
Pardon me?
They had a band playing?
Yeah, they had a nice American band playing there. They were all GIs, and they were good musicians, real nice. And they would play like Glenn Miller music, and stuff from the 1940s.
Now what's this picture here?
That's a picture of a German tank that was knocked out. We were in this truck here. We were going somewhere, and we saw this tank on the road there. It was just knocked out, and sitting there, and we just came out to look at. This is a tank, I think, that we went inside to look at. This is the headquarters in Frankfurt, Germany, that I seen when I was going to the hospital getting my lip fixed up. That's where General Eisenhower had his headquarters.
Did you ever see him or meet him?
No, not during the war. I never seen him.
Did you see or meet any generals?
General Patton.
You did? You saw him?
Seen him go by in a Jeep.
And what were you doing?
We were either marching or doing something on a road.
And they knew he was coming by? Did you know he was coming by?
No.
So he drove by and somebody said that's General Patton?
Yeah, one of the officers found out, and he would put everybody at attention.
Yeah.
Here comes a big guy.
So that's you there with the X?
Yeah. That was after the war.
Mm-hmm.
We had drills and everything, just like they do in the States.
And did you take this picture?
Yeah.
So you're sitting in the crowd watching this baseball
Yeah,
game?
I was watching the baseball game. It was all American teams from different divisions.
And what city was this?
I think it was in either Mannheim or Stuttgart, I don't know which.
So after the war, most of the time you were spent in Germany?
Yeah. That's
And they made their own baseball teams, the American guys?
Yeah. They had to do something, you know.
Mhm.
Now, this is Everbot, that's
Mhm.
where we stayed.
It's nice.
Now, it's a postcard, and it was probably taken before the war. I don't see any damaged buildings on this
So
postcard.
there were a lot of hills in
Oh,
Germany.
yeah, yeah. Well, not too much, just in certain places. This particular bridge here was in Heidelberg, and that's the only bridge that was down in Heidelberg. Now, this is a picture we took in Switzerland. We went on a sleigh ride. They had a certain name for that.
So there's a lot of snow on the ground. It doesn't look like you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
were dressed that warmly.
Well, because the weather was similar to Colorado.
Mm.
It's not humid, and once it started to snow, it never
It wouldn't melt.
melt until spring.
Oh, wow.
And then even in spring, all the snow wouldn't go away. And this place here where we were, Rindenwald, was a winter resort.
So you just went there for a visit?
Yeah. Well, I had a furlough, took a furlough there. And this is one of the restaurants that was there. And the people that owned it were American.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were born in Switzerland, and they went to the United States and lived there for quite a few years. Then they went back home and opened up this restaurant. It wasn't too far away from the hotel where we stayed.
And was that a pre-war picture type thing?
No, it was after the war.
Oh, after?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you had your scar. So then you were what, 22 or 23?
No, I was 21 years old when I got
21?
discharged.
Oh, okay. So the war had been going on for 4 or 5 years? Or how
Well,
many
actually,
years?
the war in Europe started in
Before
1939 when Hitler invaded Poland. But we never got into it until Japan invaded Hawaii or
Right, Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor. And when we got into it, and actually
And that was 41?
41. I think that's the first time that they sent troops to Europe too,
And you went in what year?
44.
In 44. So it's gone on for about 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And you were in for over a year.
I went overseas in October of 44, and I joined my outfit in November, around November 18th. And I got wounded on January 10th during the Battle of the Bulge. So I only spent actually just about 3 months in the front lines. Pretty steady except for a few days, but it seemed like a lifetime.
Yeah.
These two guys here were with me that had friends over there that, when I met that German girl,
Mm-hmm.
I think this was taken in her backyard, if I'm not mistaken, or in the backyard where she stayed at the time. This is Bill Lumpkin from Georgia.
Mm. So you're gonna bring these books when you see them?
Yeah, I plan on it.
So you can remember? Can you remember the day like this picture was taken? Some of these pictures you
Well,
remember?
not the exact day. I never wrote anything on the back of these
Yeah.
pictures. You know?
But do you remember standing there for that camera?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my camera that I had, the old 35mm camera that my folks bought for me.
Do any of these pictures really strike out like, yeah, I really remember that?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Probably this.
This
Sweater.
was in Switzerland. Now, we had some nurses that, and a couple of doctors that were on that tour also.
Yeah,
And this guy played the accordion
yeah.
and playing Swiss songs while we were. Now, this sleigh is pulled by 2 horses. You see the horses here on the building. But we had a pretty good sized group. I think they had about 3 of these sleighs that would pull us.
And how, just 2 horses?
Yeah, just 2 horses. They would pull a sleigh like this,
Yeah.
and we let all the ladies and
Yeah.
nurses and doctors that they wanted to sit, the officers, they wanted to sit in the big sleigh.
Yeah.
And then the rest of us sat in the back.
What a beautiful country, huh?
Oh, beautiful, huh? And that hotel where we stayed, did you put your shoes outside in the corridor? They were all shiny.